Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to the season opener of the Apex Racing League GT Championship Season 4 presented by Colbek. Over the next 4 months we are going to be bringing you 12 meetings of 24 races live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Peter Mackay, Sam Kumo operating the cameras, and Peter, no lie, this is probably my favourite series to cover. Some of these drivers have been racing in this championship for over 18 months now. We've had many editions of this series, and this season 4, thanks to our new sponsor Colbek, promises to be the best one yet.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to make my ARL GT debut in the commentary box here. A pleasure to join you, Sam, and of course this is one of the most popular categories of motorsport, both in iRacing and in sports car racing in real life as well. And you've got all the big manufacturers here, from Porsche, Ferrari, BMW, and of course, now I'm completely impartial, but my favourite Corvette. I'll say it quickly so no one knows.
Yes, well, it should really be a Porsche, shouldn't it? I mean,
It should be.
but he can resist the Corvette. They are absolutely lovely out there. Obviously, you would have noticed that the series got a new name, Apex Racing League GT Championship, presented by Colbek. Massive thanks to Colbek for providing prize money for many of the drivers. So the winners of both the professional and the amateur races all through the season, that's all 24 races, and the top 3 in the professional and amateur categories in each race will each be earning a little bit of money, and there'll also be a prize pool at the end of the season. The first Apex Racing League series with a prize pool. And it's thanks to Colbek, which is an IT reseller who have over 30 years of history in the business, and they've been working with IT managers and departments across the UK to find easy savings on Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Altero, ESET and Acronis, along with many others. So go to colbek.co.uk and yeah, you can maybe find some better prices on anything that runs IT. They're also hosting a driver of the day, so if you go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can go on there and vote for your driver of the day, and yeah, there'll be a little bit of extra prize money for that award as well, and the drivers will also get a little medal as well. So if you're a fan of a driver, we could have a Rio Haryanto moment where the entirety of Indonesia votes for a driver. You know, we're up for that, you know, but also, you know, vote by merit. And yeah, your favourite driver could get an award. We're currently in qualifying. All the drivers are out on circuit at the moment. One of the big news for this season, Peter, I think we might be able to bring up last season's results on screen, actually, of the overall championship. Tom McMahon has won the last 2 championships. He's won 23 races in this series in its various editions, which is, you know, 3 times more than everyone else. That was the gap they had at the end of last season. But he's not returning. He set his allegiances to the ARL Prototype Championship instead, and that leaves quite a vacant gap. I believe we have no former champions on the grid this season, Peter, so there's a chance for someone else to take the crown.
Well, that's always quite cool, isn't it, to see who's going to be the new kids on the block, if you like. And yeah, Tom was massively impressive last season, and you know, and you can see, of course, a lot of the cars in that lineup there, BMWs and the odd Porsche in there as well. But he was kind of a little bit against the grain with using the beautiful Ford GT 3.5 litre twin turbo, and drove it to brilliant effect, and won it with a round to spare. But it'd be great to see how he gets on in the prototype championship.
And you can see there Dean Powell really dominating the amateur category, and I was quite surprised, but Powell was by far the fastest amateur driver. His iRacing should put him in the amateur category for this season, because we've got some sensational drivers lined up for this season. The cutoff is at about 2,800 iRacing, but there's quite a bit of leeway with drivers getting promoted and demoted either way. Dean Powell only 2.2k, and that's how impressive that win last season was, to win it by about 100 points. Kevin Kittleman, the highest I-rated amateur driver, I believe, in the season this season. He would finish P3 last championship. But you can see he's not really up there at the moment. The blue on the timing tower behind the position number, that indicates a pro driver, and the white indicates an amateur, because of our new sponsor Colbek. So we've changed the colours a little bit up. You can see Jensen Adjenson's up there in 7th place, Scott Rister up in 10th place. We've also got Laubish in the top of the standings, and Nicholas Laubish, Alexander Nisov and Mattia Hulini, all new drivers, Peter. So they're all new drivers to the championship, and they currently occupy the top 3 places.
Absolutely, it's you never know what's gonna come out. Who's gonna come out of the woodwork as a new kind of wild card entry, if you like. But here at Phillip Island, it's a proper driver's circuit, and these GT cars, they'll be able to get up to. They'll really be winding them up. They'll be right to the very top of top gear, tucking into turn 1.
Definitely, we had a brilliant Radical Racing Challenge event around this circuit were quite recently. Hopefully we see similar action tonight. So it's a Urano Esports 1-2 then in their Apex Racing League debut. It's Laubish ahead of Nisov. By the way, Alexandri Nisov, real life driver, has raced in various series. Still quite a young driver from Russia, 7,500 iRacing, so anyone who can get near him is doing a good job. Matteo Fulini also in his debut, he lines up in third place, albeit I do believe he did take part in maybe the Apex Racing League GT Team Championship last season. Danny Lee, runner-up last season, lines up in fourth place. He's one of the favourites for the title. Doro Vikuti lines up in fifth. Then it's Matthew Chambers, Jensen Adjinsons, Denny Piazza, Max Riedmuller, Scott Vista. Second place are the amateur drivers there. Make Puluch in 11th place. Scott Kimbrough in 12th. Then it's Sven Newman, Dean Powell, Chris Van Den Nesse, Dominic Engel, James Crouch, watch out for him from 17th place. He's very quick. Crouch won a couple of races last season. Shane Keiko lines up in 18th. Then it's Maximilian Fritz, Ronald Grossman, Tom Brown, Tom Bingham, Justin Gorek, Nazar Boucherad, Matthias Beer, EJ Nixon, Anton Metzer, Bobby Flack, Gonzalo Cortez, Brian Kroon, Kevin Kitzelman, Edon Polavina, Fabian Elfers, Sonny Brown, Bradley Hulse, David Gowrie, Chris Prescott, Brent Cook, Dave Chadwick, Marco Tolman, then Steve Burke, Pete Magier in 47th, Jan Kerner, Aaron Herbert, Derek Holland, Lockie Brown, Daniel Sykes, Eduardo Piazza, Dara Adjinsons, and Drew Becker. 50 cars. We had 54 sign up for the championship, so only 4 drivers missing for tonight's meeting. And I'm quite pleased with that pronunciation, honestly, because you heard me trying to go through the grid for the first time in the Radical Racing Challenge, Peter, and I offended many nations. I thought I did a much better job here, but it's going to be tricky because about half the field are drivers who we've never seen before on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, and they're very, very welcome. Great to have on board here on Apex Racing TV for the first time. And, well, you did well there, Sam. 50 names to read out one by one. Mighty impressive. As well, as you can see, the drivers are gathered behind the Porsche 911 pace car. It looks like we're about set to go in no time at all. Just coming around the latter part of the lap here. If my cameras aren't deceiving me. They are. We're doing a full pace lap. That is heading down Stoner Corner, one of the toughest corners anywhere in the world. That's the great Casey Stoner himself used to go around there at 170 miles an hour on his Ducati MotoGP bike back in the day, and latterly Honda, of course. And then you're down into Honda hairpin. This is going to be a great opportunity for passing in here, Sam.
Yeah, I think so, and potentially a trouble spot as well off the start, because if you outbrake yourself, if you get onto the inside of the track, onto the grass, then it's very tricky to slow the car down from that point. So watch out for a few incidents on the first lap. Frankly, I'm expecting them. It's going to be tricky for the drivers to get through the first few corners. Good news here at Phillip Island, unlike Long Beach that we visited on Wednesday in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, there's a little bit more run-on. So that is good news. Just a reminder that this event is sponsored by Colbek. Check out Colbek's website if you can, if you're looking to get some discounts on IT software. Big thanks to Colbek for helping us out for this season. Just got a couple more corners to come around. How much overtaking do you think we're going to have here, Peter? Do you think if Laubish can hold onto the lead off the line, then that could be a game, set, and match?
Never really the case here at Phillip Island. You usually get bunch racing, even in this form of car. So I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see a demolition job. It wouldn't be the Phillip Island way.
It would not. So, Season 4 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek is about to get underway. The field is under control of Nicholas Laubich in his debut. He puts his foot down and we are away racing for 25 minutes of action here at Phillip Island. And it's Laubich who pulls away from the rest of the order. Good start for Rikuti to get past Lee straight away, but it's mainly single file really in the top 6 positions or so. Adjinson staying in the lead of the amateur category as well. They're quite spread out in the front of the order, and we have got a spinner. That's Powell and Crouch going off the circuit, and a couple of other guys as well. That was Gautzmeyer also involved, and oh, that's a bit of an unsafe region I think for Dean Powell. He must have skated across, getting onto the inside of the next corner. Darragh Adjinson, who started very near the back, avoiding most of it, maybe picking up a little bit of damage, but he should gain a bunch of positions off the line right there. But it's still Laubich leading the way ahead of his teammate Nesson.
Yeah, brilliant start there from, whoa, we got one of the Evo SR cars around there. That's Matty Chambers in the Porsche, the number 144 cars. Oh, well, I have to say, Sam, I'm surprised by the amount of attrition we've had so far. A lot of cars getting caught out on cold tyres in the opening section.
Yeah, some cars have gained immense amounts of places. Matthias Beer up 10 places, up into 15th place at the moment. So brilliant start for Matthias Beer. There he is in the German Austin Powers,
yes.
obviously.
Great to have him back. Oh, I love it. I love it. I wondered if he would have an art car, and yes, very, very groovy, Matthias.
Adjinsons is off. Adjinsons, the leader of the amateur category. Oh, he's back onto circuit. He was promoted to pro last season after having a stellar season 2 where he was so quick in qualifying. Didn't quite back it up to the same extent last season with the better field. Then he's been put back into amateur, but he should be as far on the face for the championship. Fortunately, missing the barrier, but Adjinsons cannot afford mistakes like that if he's going to win this championship. Bingham now leads the amateur category, of course, is in line for that extra prize money presented by Colbek, of course. So a little bit at stake there for that 15th place. Meanwhile, Garrick battling with Cortez down into the hairpin. We're going to see any move here. They're quite careful onto the brakes, and Kitterman losing out there to Cortez, I think. But yeah, Flack behind him as well.
Great to see such a good mix of manufacturers. Sometimes you can get races where there's one particular car which has just got the slight edge in performance, the slight edge on the balance of performance setting that you can get here in GT, but we've got Ferraris, we've got BMWs, we've got Porsche, Corvette, of course, as well. Brilliant to see. And some proper Phillip Island side-by stuff. Over Lukey Heights they go. Matty Chambers hangs on to the position just about.
Yeah, and Chambers will be looking to gain a few more places after that off earlier on. He needs to get up to 16th place because for race 2 we're going to have a 40-minute event, and that will have a reverse grid of 16 places. It can be anything between 14 and 28 places, and the random number this time was 16, so a little bit of a smaller one to start off the season. But we could well have some quite big ones. Once you get over 20, then it does make it tricky for the top guys to make their way back through. Derek Holland's right in the mix in 39th place. Still some decent points for 39th. That would be 12 points heading his way at the moment if it ended like this. Top 50 get points in this championship, but he's behind Dean Powell, who is quite far down the order compared to where he started, and Scott Rister as well, who looked very strong in practice, did Rister, not quite backing it up in qualifying or the race, as there's a tap from Rister there, and Dean Powell loses more places. Rister, though, I think, giving up the place though. No, he's not.
Oh my word, that'll scratch the spec map. Oh my goodness. Oh, Rister getting a rude awakening there from, I think it was Dean Powell in the, well, I hope he didn't scratch the Colbek logos.
Well, that would be disqualification.
Yeah, it would be. No prize money.
Yeah, he'd be paying us money. So yeah, that was a shame. I thought he was letting back past Dean after. Was it Dean? I think he hit Dean, and I thought he was trying to let him back past, but then he seemed to put on the dots again, so I wasn't quite sure what was going on there. Meanwhile, out in the lead, it's very close between Laubich and Nesov. Nesov could go for a move here. Here we go. The two teammates alongside for the first race of the season at Phillip Island. And Nesov moving ahead, but has he got the exit that he needs? Laubish is still going to be alongside. Now he's behind. And it is Alexei Nesov who takes the lead at Phillip Island. And the highest I rater in the field, the real-life driver, is leading the way at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Alexei Nesov. We've seen him impress so much in so many forms of iRacing, particularly in this GT category, and he's absolutely wheeling this Porsche 911 RSR around at the moment. This is the RSR 17, not the 19, which runs at the moment in the World Endurance Championship and in IMSA. This is the previous version with the wailing flat six, the 4-litre flat six, much higher pitched sound, engine mounted just into the middle of the car, so the gearbox actually behind the engine rather than the other way around, which was in the previous iteration. So it's a wonderful bit of kit, plenty of aerodynamics, and for me, Sam, in endurance, not so much relevant here in ARL GT, but in endurance racing, the dash on this car I think gives you the most up-to-date and the most relevant information, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've done a couple of endurance in this car. I think I won Daytona 24 hours in this car. Not this year, as Peter will know better than anyone else. But yeah, that heads-up display is pretty useful on that count. However, an even better heads-up display would be provided by SDK Gaming. That was a good segue, because SDK Gaming provide our overlay for this stream, and they also provide a brilliant heads-up display with a fuel calculator and such, which you can download if you go to sdkgaming.com, and yeah, you can get yourself an overlay very similar to this, and that little battle box in the bottom right, it's very useful for when you're racing along. It's much better than the relative screen. It's calculated better and it's a bit more clear, so I recommend checking out SDK Gaming for all of that. Gonzalo Cortez, he's in his debut. He's having quite a tight battle at the moment with Kevin Kissman. Kissman up 13 places from his start, one of my favourites for the amateur category, because he's, I think, the highest I-rated amateur driver out there, so it certainly makes sense. Always very reliable, but Cortez can't quite get past. And these guys are only just outside of the reverse grid places, so if something happens ahead, this could be reverse grid pole that they're battling over.
It could be absolutely critical here as they come down into Doohan Corner. Just really brave through there to sling it down, but then you've got the switchback for typical Phillip Island. Matty Chambers goes, he's going to go for the Valentino Rossi special. No, decides against it, but that's you've got to be really brave to make a move in there. But I have to say, this shows you the customization that's possible with the SDK Gaming overlay, which we use for all of our broadcasts, because now we've got blue and white M&Ms going around the track map on the top right. Normally we have red and blue usually, I think, but now we have blue and white M&Ms. I have to say, well, blue and white, that's the colour scheme of my great country, so I'm a big plus for me.
Well, yeah, that is a good point. It don't look bad. It looks quite good actually with the white background, I'd say, on the track map. It's very seamless. Nice to have it's all colour coordinated. I like it.
Maybe we could have the red. We could have, so it's red, white, and blue. We could have red on the as the track, and then white and blue M&Ms going around it. So we got the Union Jack. That'd be cool.
Round 2, we will do that. We will certainly test that out. See how it is. We got a change of position here. Wiedmuller in his debut. Oh, he's just got past Ricuti. He seemed to turn in a little bit there, did Ricuti, in the DRS Wave Italy car. He's got his teammate Denny Piazza right on his tail at the moment. They're battling over 6th and 7th, but Wiedmuller passed them. Wiedmuller started down in 9th place as well, so he's representing the C8R really well, made up a few places. And the two DRS cars will start battling one another. We've also got the two Corsim Racing cars not too far behind. They're all in team order. Now we've got the top two Urano Esports, and then yeah, the two DRS Wave cars, the two Corsim Racing cars. I feel the Empire Racing cars are very close to one another, so seemingly maxing out the setup that they have designed, but just short of the absolute top guys.
Absolutely, yeah, and this, of course, it was such a surprise to us all midway through 2020 when we found out we were going to get the latest Corvette C8R for iRacing, and what a machine it is. It's quite a difference to the previous Corvette racing machines. Of course, mid-engine now rather than front engine, so big change for the car from Bowling Green, Kentucky. But it's been so successful in its opening season in IMSA, winning the championship by a huge distance for drivers and manufacturers. So it's been very successful, and who knows, it looks like it's going to have another successful season this year.
Van der Nesse up the inside of Kimbria. Van der Nesse, 6th place last season in the championship, failed to score a podium, which was pretty remarkable because he finished in the top 10 about 10 times, but just missing out the top 3 places would not put it past him, perhaps even today, to get a podium perhaps in race 2 when we get the reverse grid. Kimbria, oh, we've got Makuti and Piazza, the teammates have gone off. Oh, that's not what they want to put on their social media. I really want to know how this has happened, because this could be red faces in the first meeting of the season. Have they come together at all? No, they've just both up very good themselves, haven't they? They just followed one another, and dearie me, and they've almost got back onto the circuit in identical ways as well. So that still means they're in still in the top 16, so they're still in the reverse grid places. But how bizarre was that, Peter?
That was very bizarre. Of course, you can't say that they're not in tune as teammates. I mean, they are really in tune. But now a problem for Matthias Beer, because he was in between those two guys there, Ricciucci and Piazza, but he's dropped back 10 places instantly. So he's had an issue in his very psychedelic Ferrari.
Yeah, he was in 14th, I believe. Oh, that was a bit aggressive from Matthias, I think. I don't know. Maybe the other car came across, but be outside of the reverse grid places, and you do have to think when you're on the outskirts there. When Matthias, he could have dropped a couple more places behind. In fact, he was 13th, wasn't he? Oh, he's on the circuit again. And Paluch as well has just lost out a position to Newman. Now, that is a change between teammates. Beer loses quite a few more places. We've also got Brown off in his home race. There he is. The last time we visited this place, Peter, it was a couple of seasons ago, so I don't think he would have done the race report for it, but everyone spun. Tom McMahon's in the YouTube chat. Happy that he's watching along. The three-time champion, the 2-time defending champion. And yeah, he spun. So like literally half the field spun. It just seems like in these GTE cars, it's really easy to lose the rear end.
Indeed, and I can't stress enough how impressive and how high a class a driver Lockie Brown is. I mean, you see him in a V8 supercar. Oh my goodness me, one of the very best. And I actually raced against him in the iRacing for November charity event at Le Mans in the 6 hour, where I was well and truly carried by Mike Epps. Hi, Mike. Mike, one of the best real-world racing drivers in sim racing, I would wager, and he well and truly carried me. Lockie was racing on his own though, raced all 6 hours on his own, and we had a good battle back and forth to the end. So Lockie's a top driver. Don't expect him to be in that position for long in this season.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to get his way up the order. Nesso half second clear of Laubish. I was a bit concerned that these two would sprint away from the others, and there'd almost be too close. But Daniel Lee, who's the same Daniel Lee is a lower I rating than me, which doesn't make sense. He's 2.9k is Daniel. Him and Dean Powell, his teammate, of course both drive for Colbek. They must just hemorrhage their I ratings for some reason, because they're battling that he's got similar pace to a 7.5k driver in Alexei Nesov at the moment. So doing very well up in 4th place there is Lee, the only returning driver in the series up in the top 7. Garrick has dropped down. He was maybe in the reverse grid places. Where is Garrick? Oh, there you go. He went up for a second because he's cut half the circuit. And way down the order now. He's behind James Crouch. And he might also lose out to Matthias Beer. Very slow, gets him back underway for Justin Gurek. But the Canadian is back on his way.
Yep. Oh, the Maximilian Fritz missing the front hood on that Corvette C8R. Thankfully, it's the C8R rather than the C7. It's the C7. That would be engine damage. That wouldn't be so good. But he's carrying on in 27th position right now. The wheel of that flat plane cranked V8 mid-engine machine. It was actually built hand in hand with the new C8 streetcar, and of course built by Pratt and Miller. They send satellites into space, so building building a race car is kind of like us building a basic Lego kit.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I did not know that. James Crouch up the inside after a dreadful start for James. Nova Cootsie's off the circuit again. Where is he? Come on, Dory. I see. I think he's towed back to the pits. That's a huge shame for Nova Cootsie. He possibly was the favourite for the race to win until this incident, because the two DRS wave cars out of position after running in the top 10 for most of the race. Oh, he dips the wheel onto the grass and then hard into the wall.
Ooh. And
then stuck in the tyres as well. So hopefully we see him back on circuit, because he can use the faster pair, and as long as you finish either 0, 1 or 2 laps down, you score points. He would get a smattering of points. You get about 2, but it's worth it. Yeah, he'd get 3 points. I correct myself. He'd get 3 points. So he'd get back out there and get you some points for the team.
Indeed, I think that tenacity is a word which is so important. I think in a long championship like this, you say 24 races 24 races to go. So it's every little bit of points will count to the championship. So yeah, if you have a bad day, that's what you need to do.
Oh, Daniel Lee is off the circuit. He was pushing Fulini ever so hard, but he's had an off. But that shows the gap between 4th and 5th positions. Riedmuller too far behind to take advantage of it. Chambers, by the way, Chambers up into 14th place. Mighty drive from Matty Chambers to get back up there. We've also got Cortez off the circuit, and Flack moves up into 16th place. Oh, Cortez, another driver who's gone off at that corner, so plenty of mistakes, and it's now Flack in his debut who would take reverse grid pole if it ended like this. You can see 36 degrees track temperature. It's 31st of January. That's not chilly though. We're on the southern hemisphere, so that is very, very warm. Albeit only 18 degrees air temperature. Might well be getting warmer when it comes to race 2. James Crouch not gaining in the straight. Maybe a bit of aero damage for James there. Maybe it was just the good straight line speed of the Corvette. By the way, Steve Burke is up into... Hang on, is that Steve Burke? Yeah, Steve Burke is up 23 places up to 18th place. That's the highest gain of anyone.
That's mighty impressive to gain that amount of time in what is a relatively short race as well here. Just 25 minutes. Whoa, James Crouch really late on the brakes there in his Ferrari, banging down the gearbox there. And got a wall of Corvette in front of him. Whoa, and a little bit of a brake check there. But Phillip Island actually home to one of the largest populations of little penguins in the world. And in fact, basically, if you head straight south from Phillip Island, you hit the South Pole. Not really anything in between.
You see, that's the facts that I like. Anything about penguins, I'm right on board. Yeah, I'd love to visit this place. I always say I didn't actually realise it was an island. I thought it was like Rhode Island, but it's a legit island. Kroon is behind Cortez still, but he's got Crouch, who is looking to get past up. Crouch, yeah, he doesn't really have the straight line speed. He's got a bit of damage on that bonnet. It is costing him a bit at the moment. He goes down the inside of Kroon, and oh well, he will argue that he had part of his car alongside on corner entry, and so then he'll probably get away without a penalty there. But that is a shame for those two. Kroon down into 25th place. Good driver is Brown. Kroon, of course, took part in the final few rounds of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship and did really well. Hence why he's a pro driver. Again, another driver whose iRacing should be an amateur, but because he's performed pretty well in other Apex Racing League events. He's got into that Pro division instead. He's now behind the German Austin Powers.
He is, yeah. And I tell you what, if you look at that Ferrari of Matthias Beer for too long, all I can hear is Lucy in the Sky with diamonds in the back of my head. If I look at it for too long, my eyes are starting to twirl around and and go into a little bit of a daze watching it. It's a perfect camouflage for Matthias Beer. Of course, raced in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 in a very jazzy BMW with a similar paint scheme. Now, Brian is, I believe, from my time in the Netherlands, his name is Brian Kroon. A double O is like an O sound rather than our U. See, Brian Kroon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brian Kroon. Okay. Yep. I'll try to remember, but frankly, it takes me a couple of seasons to get the pronunciation.
24 races.
Yeah. Well, I was looking forward actually to Stephen Broomfield returning. Hopefully, Stephen's watching along. Pop a message into the chat if you're watching along, Stephen, because his name is spelled like Brumfield, and but it's pronounced Broomfield. And I was going to pounce on you like a panther when you mispronounced that one, but I'll have to wait till round 2, and hope that you get it wrong on that occasion. Jan Kerner. That's saying for 37th place at the moment. He's just behind Drew Becker at the moment. As it's really kicking off just ahead of these guys as well. Engel Prescott representing Wales, the only Welsh driver I believe out on circuit. We've got Brown as well. You had of course, an issue earlier on. Did Lockie Brown? I think Lockie Brown might be losing another place here. Is that? I think that's a back marker actually. I think that's even be Rakuti. He's letting those drivers go. No, it's Pete Mahaya just letting the drivers go. Good driving there from Pete.
Brilliant respect. Yeah, it's very nice to see that, because at Phillip Island it's very easy to get bottlenecked behind a slower car, and sometimes you have to play the waiting game. But Pete doing a good job to get out of the way there safely and allow the faster drivers through. Really good. That's what we like to see this early on in a league. It's I think that sets a good tone for the rest of the drivers, I think, Sam.
Yeah, hopefully so, and we could see some lapping in race 2. Also visiting Donington National later on in the season, which I think that's quite a short circuit, so could well have some lapping on that occasion, and a few others as well. So yeah, certainly a good precedent to set. It seems like Piazza's also dropped down the order, I think. Oh no, that's Eduardo Piazza. Have we got the other Piazza? Oh, we've still got Denny Piazza doing that. Oh no, come on guys. We know we can't cope with this stuff. Fortunately, they were on opposite ends of the track. But Denny Piazza and Eduardo Piazza there. We've got a few more slow drivers as well. That's Brown coming into the pits. He's underfueled. And he's knocked over the cone. Oh, that is a shame for Tom Brown on his debut. Very late entrant to the series, but we're very happy to have him along. And that will promote Tom Bingham into reverse grid pole.
Indeed, yeah, he needs to get an SDK Gaming fuel calculator, and that won't happen to him again.
Well done.
So Alexei Nezov in the lead, and looking to stamp his authority there over his teammate Laubish, get this first win in the bag. But of course, Sam, in the final race of the meeting tonight, we're going to see the reverse grid, and having to come through the pack will be another challenge entirely here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, Burke might be in for a reverse grid pole here because Kisselman's just gone off. No, Kisselman's back onto the circuit. I thought Burke might just be getting a reverse grid pole there, which would have been, frankly, a miracle. Because he started down in 41st position, did Burke. And if he got reverse grid pole, it would be well deserved. But he's only, he's holding off Cortez and Crouch, isn't he? Crouch will be annoyed with that. He's not going to get reverse grid pole. They could catch up maybe to those guys. However, we've only got, will we have one more to go after this one? It'll be close. No, this is going to be the last one. 45 seconds to go. So yeah, last lap for these drivers. And as you say, Nesov applying the, or certainly asserting his dominance early on, but anything could happen in the reverse grid race. So this is only half the job, if that, done for Nesov. But with a relatively small reverse grid, I think Nesov and Laubish again have got to be the favourites for race 2, because their pace has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, they've putting themselves. They're setting their stable out as the early kind of championship favourites, if you like, running together, and yeah, pretty dominant so far. Oh goodness me, be careful there, Matteo Fellini having a bit of a look there, trying to disturb it slightly, but we're going to be in for a cracker in race 2.
We sure are, but the first race win of the Apex Racing League GT Championship Season 4, presented by Colbek, goes to Alexei Nesov. And Fellini's got him. Fellini's passed Laubish. I wonder if Laubish ran out of fuel on the last lap, because look how slow that last lap was. And it is Fellini who finishes in 2nd place. Yeah, no more fuel in that thing. He was lifting and coasting. That I think he pointed it out how Fellini had a look going into the final few corners and nearly made the move. Kittelman looks as though he's going to get reverse grid pole as long as he can get to the line, all right. There he is. Oh, Burke nearly got him. Burke, oh no, sorry, Burke's further behind. Apologies, I'm blind. Burke wasn't that close, but still, good drive from Burke. Kittelman gets reverse grid pole. Bingham will be alongside on the front row of the grid. It's a great race for him and Flack and Atchinsons, or the amateurs who get within that reverse grid range. Lockie Brown will also cross the line. We've got Drew Becker. We've got Tom Brown as well across the line. And everyone down to Eduardo Piazza, down in 47th position, will score points. So out of the 50 starters, oh wow, that was 3 wide across the line. How close was that one? Yeah, that was Prescott beating Gowrie and Kerner. 6/100ths of a second, separating the 3 of them at the line. The final few drivers will come across. In fact, we immediately advance over to the warm-up session, and we should be able to bring you through your final finishing order. And it is Alexei Nesov who wins out by 5 seconds over Matteo Fellini, who denies the Urano Esports 1-2. Niklas Laubish in 3rd position. Then it was Danny Lee, Max Riedmuller, Sven Newman, Mike Paluch, Chris Van der Nesse, good race there from Van der Nesse, by the way. Scott Kimbrough and Shane Keiko rounding out the top 10. Only 2 returning drivers up in that top 10. Denny Piazza finished in 11th place. There's Jensen Atchinsons, Matthew Chambers, Bobby Flack, Ham Bingham, do me. I don't know how that got in there. Apologies, that's Tom Bingham. We might keep it like that, frankly. Kevin Kittelman gets reverse grid pole. Steve Burke was in 17th place. Great drive through the order from Steve. There's Gonzalo Cortez, James Crouch, Fabian Elfers, Anton Gauts Metzer, Matthias Beer, Sonny Brown, Brian Kroon, Max Fritz, Ronald Grossman, Dean Powell, Cook. Another exceptional driving Cook for Cook Racing as well. Brilliant stuff. Apologies. Justin Gurek in 29th, Dominic Enkel rounding out the top 30. Then it was Lockie Brown, Drew Becker, Tom Brown, Chris Prescott, David Gowrie, Jan Kerneth, Edon Polavina, Derek Holland, Dave Chadwick, EJ Nixon, Nazar Busharad, Daniel Sykes, Aaron Herbert, Marco Tolman, Pete Mahaya, Bradley Hulse, Eduardo Piazza, Scott Vista, Doi Rakuti, and Dara Atchinsons rounding out the 50 drivers. The top 47 there score points because they were either 0, 1 or 2 laps down. We now have a 5-minute break for the drivers until we go over to the second race of the evening. Yeah, Peter, from that race 1, you think that the top 3 could maybe get back onto the podium in this 40-minute second race?
Well, this is what we're going to see. Of course, it's all a kind of journey of discovery at the moment here at Phillip Island in this opening round. I mean, it seemed to me that they had plenty pace under the car, but I think what they're going to have to be very careful of is under cold tyres, trying to make it through the opening sector clean and safe is going to be the real key, and then they can start to pick their way through. I think they've got to take the Kieran Harrison of HM Engineering in the ARLTC Championship, the measured approach. I think that's going to be the way to get that job done.
Yeah, I think so. Really playing the percentage game in these GT cars is even more the case because they are that much more brutal than the touring cars. They take that much bigger as well. And this narrow Phillip Island circuit, it could be tricky. I'm also wondering maybe if the tyres will be a problem because, like I said before, a couple of seasons ago we visited this circuit, and by the end of the 40 minutes, the tyres were gone. They were properly, absolutely dead. I think it may have been hotter on that day. I think we may have been running in the afternoon. No, apologies, actually thinking about it, we ran race 2 in the late afternoon. So this will actually be hotter than it was back then. So I think these drivers might really be struggling come the end of the race. So that's certainly something to watch out for in a little while.
Yeah, of course, we're in the middle of the Australian summertime right now, of course, just at the end of January. So, yeah, high track temperature, 33 to 37 degrees centigrade. So that's going to really affect the grip that these Michelin tyres have and in an adverse way. And when the track gets too hot, it kind of gets a little bit greasy and the tyre can't quite grip properly, and it wears a little bit harder as well. Now, in this sprint racing format, the wear isn't such a concern, but the grip certainly is, and especially here at Phillip Island, you don't want to have too much of a drop in grip because there's a lot of corners where you're putting a lot of stress through that tire as well. So it's going to be a really intriguing motor race. And now I know we've had in this length of race, we've had pit stops before. Sam, do we have pit stops for this feature race?
We do not have pit stops for the feature race. It's just lights to flag. No pit stop needed. It takes me back to when MotoGP had to do a pit stop back, I think, in 2012, and they somehow messed it up as though coming into the pits was a tricky thing to do, and I think Marquez came in on the wrong lap or something.
2013 that was.
Oh, 2013, apologies. Yeah, it nearly cost him the championship that as well, didn't it? Because he was like leading the race, and then you can't predict it beforehand, but that someone would mess that one up. But good times. By the way, just a reminder that the winners from race 1, the winner overall of race 1, won £12 out there, and that is prize money provided by Colbek, our new sponsor for this championship. So massive thanks to Colbek. £12 for the race winner, £8 for second, £6 for third, and then also the top amateur driver also gets a prize. So £6 for the top amateur driver, that was Jensen Adjensons, and then £4 for second, £3 for third, and that happens for all 24 races this season. So Kevin Kitselman, then he will be trying to get his hands on that. If he wins the race, I think he gets both the amateur and the pro. So he could be splashing the cash after this race with that £18 potentially heading his way, and obviously a bunch of championship points, which I think to him would be that much more valuable. He lines up on the front row of the grid alongside Tom Bingham. Bobby Flack starts in third place. Alongside him is Matty Jones. Watch out for Chambers. If he can get into the lead early on, he could be dangerous. Jensen Adjensons lines up in fifth place. Denny Piazza, he could be dangerous as well. Then it's Shane Keiko, Scott Kimbrough, Chris Van der Nesse, make Paluch in 10th position. Then it is Max Riedmuller, Sven Newman, Danny Lee, Nicholas Laubisch, Matthias Fulini, Alexei Nesov, Steve Burke, James Crouch. In fact, all the order is a bit messed up for me. So you can look at it on your screen. It'll cycle through. We've gone through the drivers enough times. You've had your name mentioned enough times tonight, all of the drivers, and that will go through. Now to explain the entirety of the grid, cold tyres as well in these GTE cars, Peter. It can be a little bit of a threat for these guys. Just wonder if that's going to be something that the top drivers are going to have to factor in, maybe just leave a little bit more room for their rivals as they're gaining places on that opening lap, or maybe they'll just throw caution to the wind and just think, well, if I'm not going to make a move now, then I'm not going to make it ever. So it'll be tricky decisions for them to make.
Well, I think one of the biggest concerns alongside the tyre temperature or lack of it is the brakes. Of course, the GTE specification car does not have an anti-lock braking system like you would get on your road car or in a lot of other forms of racing car. So what that means is if you just brake that a little bit too aggressive, the brakes will lock, and you are, well, it's like kind of like skidding on ice if you've had that sensation in a road car before. So the drivers would really, they're all holding. They've obviously been well trained. They're all very, very stable on the pace lap. There's not any weaving around, and there's not any accelerating brake, because if they were doing that, that would be to generate extra temperature. But they're all holding station right now. So, yeah, those first probably lap or so, they just have to leave that little bit of margin.
Yeah, let's see if they do so for this for the starts of this second race of the evening. It will be Kevin Kitzelman to control the order. He's got Tom Bingham alongside him on the front row of the grid. Now, last time we saw the front guys got a little bit late off the start. I imagine Kitzelman will go a bit earlier in the 2:19 car. You can choose to wait till the green flag, or you can go just before. 40 minutes of action at Phillip Island is about to kick off. We had a reverse grid of 16. That means that Kevin Kitzelman pulls away from the rest of the order, already 4 wide further down the field. Great start for Sven Newman to gain a couple of places, but Kitzelman crucially pulling away. Bingham under pressure from Black going into turn 1, but took a very strong line through turn 1 and just relieves the pressure slightly. Chambers trying to get past up a place straight away, but he's actually lost out to Adriansons, who moves up into 4th position straight away. Alexei Nesov, who was the race winner earlier on. Oh, Chambers has gone off into Narnia. He'll be swimming in the sea if he's not careful, because he's way off the circuit right there. Alexei Nesov just positioning car in the right place.
Oh, T-bone stake.
Very deep into the Honda hairpin. I think that may have been Daniel Lee, one of the drivers involved in that one. Matthias Beer also having problems further down. Crouch was involved in a further back incident, and some of the drivers have gained big places. We've had Newman gain 6 places, Laubish up 8 places already off the start, and when it was turn 2 before, we've had a couple more incidents. That's Van der Nessa. He's got to try to get that car stopped now as he rejoins the circuit. He has done a good job there, and that was Max Riedmuller, who had a very good race 1, I think finished in P7, but he's not going to score many points in race 2.
No, that was a really hard impact with the wall there for Riedmuller, and yeah, you often see that. Whoa, we've got a bit of a roadblock here at the MG hairpin. A car pointing the wrong way. Goodness me, it's a mess. So we called it, didn't we, Sam? Those cold tires and cold brakes really playing havoc with the drivers up and down the grid, and coming into, that's very typical at Phillip Island, coming around Stoner Corner, turn 4 and down into Honda, the first hairpin. That's when you're really leaning on the brakes hard for the first time, and it's very easy to lock up and then run onto the grass, and then you become a little bit of a bowling ball and the other competitors become the pins. And that's exactly what happened there, and my goodness me, did it kick off a heck of a melee.
Yeah, it sure did. Oh, and we've got a couple more cars. That's Kernath and Tolman colliding with one another. Tolman outside the top 40 now. But the order is, real messed up. Ronald Grossman up 17 places up into P9. Apologies, that might just be my screen. I think he's not quite up that many places, but he's still gained a lot of places. Kevin Kitzelman, they're still leading the way. We've still got 4 amateurs leading this race at the moment. Adjansons has got past Black, but we've got the big guys behind now. Newman, Laubish, Nesov, Paluch, and Lee all queuing behind. Steve Burke as well, having the race of his, or the meeting of his life. He is very experienced in World GT, is Steve Burke, and he's driving absolutely awesome tonight. He gained 25 places in race 1, and he's already gained about 11 places, 7 places in race 2, so doing very well. Meanwhile, we've got 3 wide going into turn 1. Will this pull off all right? Nesov with the fast lap of the race. Black backs out of it and probably was the right
come on.
Laubish up into 4th position. Nesov in 5th then. And they managed to get past Newman and Black very quickly there. They are wasting no time, are the Urana Esports drivers.
Well, we would have paint traded there. Alexei Nesov making a really firm move there on Sven Newman in the Corson Racing Corvette. There was a bit of contact there. Lucky not to go off. And Bobby Flaxoff Probably flags off in the... Oh, and Sven Newman as well. So he goes off at the Honda hairpin. So the charge for the 111 Corvette is over. Certainly for the race win anyway. And oh, it's getting very busy here with Tom Bingham and Adriansens as well in there too. In the darker coloured car there. Oh, but you're absolutely right, Sam. Nezov and Laubish are carving through the field with absolutely zero remorse. They are on the move big time.
So Laubish up into third position. Then Laubish apparently was fuel saving for the entirety of the 25 minutes in race 1. So maybe that was why Nesov managed to get past. And so if you think that Nesov will necessarily get past in this race 2, I think again Laubish probably making himself the favourite right now in this race 2 with a very strong start. But still Kisman and Adriansens. Well, it's an Indy Autosport 1-2. The red and grey cars leading the way, and well, they'll be very pleased with that one. The veterans of the series, I think, fielding more drivers than anyone else for this season. But the 1-2 is going to come to an end, I feel, because here comes Laubish down the inside into Stoner Corner, and Adriansens too experienced to fight that one, and he drops down into third position. So yeah, Laubish up into second. Nesov gets him past Bingham as well. Lee's actually onto in this fight as well. You can just see him at the back of this one. And Burke up into 9th place, but continues to gain places. He's up into 9th position ahead of Fulini.
Well, Laubish, honestly, it's like he's got four-wheel drive. He's just driving around everybody right now, and well, it's not going to be long before he's on the back of Kittelman in that 118 911 RSR. But Kittelman, brilliant start to the race. Laubish does have a bit of ground to make up, but I'm sure he will make pretty short work of that. About 1.5 seconds as it stands right now. We'll see what their lap times are when they come over the line. The question is, Sam, is can Alexei Nezov basically hook onto the back of the train? He's currently still behind Adriansens here. He'll want to get by, and oh my word, look at that lap time. 1:24 flat for Laubish, 1:24.995 for Kittelman. And oh, Nezov really getting frisky there as well. And into third place he goes. So looks like Kittelman's going to have double trouble from the Arano Esports guys in not too long.
Yeah, I mean, he's done brilliantly well to hold on so far, has Kittelman, but it is remarkable and quite damning for the other drivers that the Arana Esports drivers have already got into second and third, and we're only 6 minutes into this 40-minute event. He's still trying to get past Paluch, hasn't quite turned out well for him. Bingham doing really well as well, actually, in 5th place. I wonder if it would be worth Bingham just letting these guys go. But he doesn't want to lose too much time doing that, so I think if they get alongside, he'll let them go. But now, may as well battle them. A little bit of a sideways moment there for Bingham. But Paluch can't quite find a way past. Lee could put his nose up the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of a lock-up just ahead. And this will be a very good run for these drivers. It's easy flat for these cars through the final corner. You can pick up the toe, and Bingham will surely be a sitting duck. We could well have another 3-wide situation by the time we get down into turn 1.
So he's Paluch in front there, the German in the Corsom Racing Corvette, and they get a double bubble draft there. Bingham is the sitting duck indeed. Paluch goes by, and whoa, Danny Lee getting very frisky with his teammate there. They are
not teammates.
Oh no, they're sorry. I do apologise. They're incredibly similar paint schemes, but yes, that's going to catch me out more than once. I'm sorry. Do apologise. So Danny Lee there, yeah, and look at Paluch in the Corvette really scampering away, and well, goodness me, that was like the Gazelle and the Springbok. It was just an air of inevitability about that one for the lead. And whoa, we've got more problems here. Scott Kimbrough off at Honda, I think it is, and not the field to stream by. That's one of the worst things about having a crash is when you try to get back on and you just see this stream of cars going by you, and you have to sit there and watch them all. It's agonising.
Everyone just seems to have parked up. It seems like a good viewing spot on the outside of the Honda hairpin, because it was just 5 or 6 cars just hanging out. Nicholas Laubish, this is how he got past. He can't waste any time because he's got Nesov so close to him, and yeah, he kind of gestured, and Kisselman, one of the most sensible drivers out on track, opens up the steering and lets him go. It is Urano Esports into the lead. Fritz got past Bingham. Maximilian Fritz up 18 places. Wasn't a very good race one for Fritz, but he's come back strong in race 2. Also, Fulini now gets him past Bingham, so floodgates kind of opening for Bingham. But if you can finish in the top 3 in the amateur category, that would still be a good result. Remember, the points are dished out on your overall position. So if an amateur driver finishes in 20th position, but 3rd in class, they get the points for 20th positions, but they get the prize money for the podium. So you want to still get those top positions, and you still want to outscore your championship rivals. Keiko, after a good race 1 for Keiko, and I thought he might be one of the danger spots for race 2. Hasn't quite turned out that way, and he's dropped down the order now as Keiko, which is a shame for him, because yeah, he was involved in an incident, I think, with Daniel Lee and a couple of others down at the Honda hairpin on lap 1, which kind of put him off course. And that incident right there hasn't helped him either. A real big battle right now behind Brent Kirk. I'm ever so sorry to Fritz and Fulini, but I think we've got to pay attention to this one, because this is a long train of cars. We've also got another train behind Scott Vista and co. But I think we'll stick with this one, because I think this is the longest one. This is all behind Lockie Brown at the moment. Albeit, I think Brown might have the pace to pull away from these guys. He is up 16 places from his start, is the Australian. But that last lap for Brown was dreadful. He lost 4 seconds. As Maximilian Fritz is off the track, he just moved up into 3rd. He's been overtaken by Fulini, and now he's dropped down to 13th.
Oh, now, did he fall or was he pushed? Because, of course, he was in a bit of a battle there with Fulini. Maybe Fulini was on the Fritz, shall we say. I wonder what happened there. We're going to get a replay. Fulini at the back there in the Porsche. Through Doon corner they go, a full commitment corner. Fritz goes to the inside, and I wonder if he maybe just overcooks it here. He does, yes, he does. Very, 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 very easy mistake to make there. You're really leaning on the car as much as possible, and sometimes it just says, no, enough is enough. So we see Sven Newman here trying to recover a little bit. Had a bit of an incident earlier on, trying to recover and try and get past the BMW M8 of Burke, up ahead in the 223 car. And that BMW M8 it's had quite a successful run on iRacing since it came onto the service, and for one point we almost had Formula BMW in GTE, but it has changed around a little bit, the performance, as we see the Corvette for Porcelain Racing going up the inside, and makes it look quite easy there, Sam.
Yeah, but no disrespect to him, a bit out of position, I think, but then he's earned it, you know, because remember he qualified well down the order, 41st. I think that was genuine qualifying pace, but in the races he's managed to keep out of trouble. I don't think he's had not sure if he's picked up an incident all day, so we'll be getting maybe even a bonus point as well if he keeps it clean. But this would be big points for Burke, and I think he's established himself as one of the favourites for the amateur category. Maybe does need to improve that qualifying performance a little bit though in future rounds. Bradley Hulse is battling with Lockie Brown at the moment. No, that's Sonny Brown. Oh, we've got an off for Rikuti. And Rikuti had gained so many places. He was up 30 places before that. But it's a painful day for Dory. They do get one drop meeting from the 12 meetings to these drivers. And I think Dory will be hoping that this one is that drop meeting, because it's really not gone his way tonight.
No, it hasn't, no, and for DRS Wave Italy, it's not been a great day for the team in general. Of course, them having a synchronised crash earlier on didn't really help as well. Speaking of synchronisation, look at these guys, Jensen Adriansens and Kevin Kittelman going toe-to-toe here in the Indy Autosport Porsche 911 RSRs. Of course, this is a circuit which they do a bit of Australian GT racing here, but not with the GTE specification cars. This isn't a car you would see in the real world at this particular circuit. But it's wonderful to watch them around here. course, this 911 RSR built in the village of Weissach by Porsche Motorsport, and still a few of them running in customer hands, but most of them now moved on to the RSR 19, so a slightly bigger motor, a 4.2 litre as opposed to a 4 litre, and makes a much deeper sound than this car. So I wonder if we'll get not only the new version of the RSR during this year, Sam, but also the GT3 version, the Porsche 911 GT3R.
That'd be very nice. Is the bigger engine any louder? Because it was already unbelievably loud. I mean, compared to the M8, for example, which barely makes a noise, this thing, at least in real life, I don't think the sim does it justice, because I think iRacing kind of mixes them all to sound similar. But in real life, it's amplitudes higher.
Well, I've actually had the immense privilege of interviewing Kevin Estre a week or two ago for the Porsche Sport podcast, and he, of course, has raced the car since it came out, and the 17 was loud, very loud, and then apparently the 19 is just crazy because the exhausts now come out the side, so they're even closer to the driver than they're coming out the back, which they do in the 17. So he says they've tried everything. They've tried to put cotton wool in. They've tried to do everything, but he says it's just so loud. The new one, and I've listened trackside and heard it trackside a couple of times, and yes, you can't. The BMW honestly sounds like an EV compared to the RSR.
Yeah, it is absolutely unreal. Fugolini battling with Grossman. Is that Fugolini getting past? No, I think that's Fugolini defending from Grossman there, so good pace for Grossman, who is up 18 places. Also got a move coming up for Sonny Brown and Bradley Hulse. Brown still defending those many drives. Here we are. Here comes Hulse, just string to the inside. Oh, here we go. Around the outside at Lukey Heights. The inside. And of course the inside turns into the outside for the next corner. But Hulse, I thought he'd made it through, but I wonder if there was a bit of netcode contact there. Now he's got to be careful, Hulse, to not rejoin unsafely. And he's picked a decent spot there, the 228 down to 27. That's a shame for Hulse because, you know, he'd got his car ahead and you're on the power, you think you've got the move done and you might be able to scamper away. And then you just get that tap and sends you around, and unfortunately plenty of time lost. Anton Galtzmetzer passing in 12th position. Burke is his rival. Burke positioning his car pretty well. That BMW should be good down the straights, albeit on the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Championship earlier today. I think that the Ferrari was also very quick, albeit that's a fixed setup series, so you know maybe just the setup is designed to be quick down the straight. But I don't think the Ferrari's too shabby when it comes to the power delivery. They've got Maximilian Fritz just behind, who I think should be able to get past these guys eventually. This was an incident for Dori Rikuti. It's another incident then for Rikuti, I assume. And he's just been tapped up the rear, hasn't he? And they've both gone off, and Rikuti hard into the wall. And he is going to come away from this meeting, I believe, with no points in the end.
Yeah, good. Thank goodness for drop scores, but you really don't want to be using it this early on in the championship, especially. It's such a long calendar here in the ARL GT series, but no such issues for Nicholas Loudbitch and Alexei Nezhov. We saw them trading places in the previous race, in the sprint race. Now, will the same happen here in the feature? This has very much airs of the just finished Rolex 24-hour at Daytona with the two factory Corvettes running like, well, really like the Red Arrows, just in flying formation, and operating in a bit of a different level to the rest. But this is just absolute domination from Murano Esports.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they stick around for the whole season. I imagine they will do. Because obviously this championship is very prestigious. I'm sure this would be the heights of their quiz. But Alexei, like I've said a few times, you know, races in real life. So I imagine if you may have to miss a couple of Sundays, and like I said, it's a long season. So the one drop score if you miss a few meetings, heck, if you miss one meeting, then you're in big trouble, because you're bound to have one bad meeting during the season. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much they can commit to it. I'm not sure if Nalbish also competes in real life. I don't believe he does. Well, maybe we'll have a chat with them after the race, and we can find out for ourselves. Adjinson's still doing well in third place, and it's nice to see Jensen's really elevating his form this season. Look at the top two, they're coming into traffic, and this is where Nesov got past in race 1. We could see a repeat move here. Down the inside he goes into the Honda hairpin, and it is going to be 2 from 2. Similarly, they make contact with the teammates though, and Laubish goes off the circuit, gets a bit of a squiggle, and it is Nesov who leads this race then, and it's looking like he's going to achieve a double on his Apex Racing League debut. Again, it's Laubish just didn't defend into the Honda hairpin again, and you know, you can understand it in race 1 there, Peter, the fact that he was saving fuel, maybe let his teammate go, but that time maybe could have put his car in the middle of the circuit.
Possibly, yeah. Well, they're racing hard for it, that's for sure. Maybe feeling they've got enough of a buffer to be able to have a bit of rough and tumble. But strikes me as heirs of Red Bull in the early 2010s. They had a clear advantage, and yeah, got into a bit of rough and tumble, did Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. I wonder if there'll be the chuck of the water bottle and the multi-21 afterwards. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's annoying actually how well people get on in sim racing. It's absolutely infuriating. Usually quite nice people are sim racers. You know, cheaters, undoubtedly, you know, they'll push the rules, but not too bad people. But yeah, we could do with a few more of those fights. As we've got Rista versus Engel. That is Rista around the outside. Nice move. And a nice livery as well. We're not doing a livery of the season prize, but I think that one would be up there if we did have one. This is an incredible queue going down to Dara Adjinsons. New driver to the series, Dara Adjinsons. I believe some relation to Jensen's Adjinsons, but I don't know how they're related. Maybe father, son, brothers, sisters, hairdressers. I'm not sure. But oh, we got contact. Engels and Powell. Oh, and we got another one. And that is Flack and Kimbrough. I think also having to take offensive action was Darrett Adjinson. He gains about 5 places without having to do anything. And as we've seen a couple of times this evening, if there's one crash at Honda, there's usually 2 or 3.
Yeah, they seem to be breeding. They seem to be breeding with one another, don't they? And it's spawning off a lot of very smashed up race cars right now. And what it means is that we've got a pretty even split of amateur drivers that are highlighted in white and pro drivers that are highlighted in blue. Normally you kind of see the top half pro and the bottom half AM, but actually it's really mixed up here. So there's going to be a lot of AM drivers that are in a good place to get a huge chunk of points early on, get them booked on the board, get them chopped up. That's what will be very, very helpful indeed. But only half distance, Sam, but the rate of attrition has been significant so far.
It has, yeah, and so that's kind of what we thought might be the case at Phillip, with instance between drivers and just self-errors, and there have been plenty of both so far in this race. Big thanks to everyone who's tuned in for this stream, over 100 live viewers. We certainly appreciate your company, and any drivers watching back, yeah, welcome to the series. Of course, this series would not be the level that it is without Colbek, our new sponsor for this season 4 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Colbek, as an IT reseller with over 30 years in business, as just see him move there, Steve Burke losing out to Gal Metzer on screen. But yeah, Colbek, with 30 years in the business, working with IT managers and departments across the UK to find easy savings for Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Altare, ESET, and Acronis, and many more. And if you want to see if you can get better pricing for everything that runs your business IT, go to colbek.co.uk /iRacing. And also on there, you can vote for your driver of the day. So even if you're a fan of Nessov, I think he's done a very good job. I think he deserves the driver of the day. Or if you just like a driver, go over there and vote for your driver of the day. That'll be open for all 12 meetings of the season. So go over to colbek.co.uk/iRacing. There might well be a link in the description below, and you can send in that driver of the day vote. Certainly recommend it.
Indeed, yeah. We echo the thanks to Colbek for their support of the series as well. Looking at Sonny Brown here on track right now in the 18 car, and these Empire Racing cars, they are certainly jazzy paint schemes on there as well. It's got Matty Chambers behind in the Evo SR Porsche 911 RSR, and those kind of, they're almost like Tequila Patron colours, that kind of black and green. It reminds me of the old Tequila Patron racing cars.
They're very good with the as you say, the colour scheme, but also the detail as well. The logos are pasted, high quality stuff. Congratulations to the judges for pulling off some nice logos up there. Steve Burke, he's coming back, or is he losing a place? No, he's defending from Garek. Cal Matza already ahead. Lee's made a mistake. Oh, Danny, come on, mate. Not doing Colbek proud. He's done it to fifth place. Bro. It does, yeah. Although he's got a bit of dirt on it now, which shouldn't have been the case, because he did all the hard work, got past Adjinsons, and then just a mistake from Daniel. He would, I mean, Nessov and Nalbish, as I certainly kind of thought going into this first round, might be in a different league. To be fair to Danny, when he's not been going off the circuit, of course he made a mistake in race 1 as well. He has been similar pace to those guys, but if he can just finish third place, I think Danny would be delighted with that. Always very positive whenever he comes for a chat with us. So I'm sure that if he can just get third place in this race 2, he would be delighted with that evening of work. Nessov and Nalbish, they're back close together again. Nalbish has found another gear, it seems. Maybe he is angry. Maybe he is throwing water bottles about his sim room, Peter, because look at those lap times. He's taking time out of his teammate.
Yeah, he's channeling a bit of Aussie grit here down under at Phillip Island, just off the coast of Melbourne. And Laubish is, you got to think that he's driving angry right now, because that was pretty heavy-handed from Nezov coming through. We know that Nezov does not shy away of a bit of trading paint, if you like. And I think this is going to come down to a bit of a climax here at Phillip Island. We've seen so many brilliant races here at this circuit, both in sim and in the real world. I mean, every year when the MotoGP paddock come here, it's always a thrilling race. Some of the best races you're ever likely to see are here at Phillip Island, and it's wonderful because it's a circuit that just follows the natural rolling curvature of the land. It is such a natural circuit. I think this is why it's so loved by the field as well. And in fact, since 1928 they've been racing on the island itself, when ACR White won the first ever Australian Grand Prix in an Austin 7 of all things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they then made the. I guess they then made the. I mean, was this a purpose-built circuit? I guess it was a purpose-built circuit. But do you know when the circuit was designed?
1956 was when they had the first meeting at Phillip Island, and it was actually Len Lukey who owned the circuit from 1962 to 1978, and that's when it really got a good bit of development, and then really came alive in the late 80s when Wayne Gardner was winning his motorcycle world championship.
Yeah, Kuhn trying to channel some of that right now in 27th place. Let's get past these guys. This is the closest pack that we've got. Actually, Chambers isn't too far ahead of these guys. I think Chambers had an issue. Phillip's going. Someone had an issue. That doesn't mean narrowed down. There are quite a few tries out on circuit. Oh, Adjinsons. What's happened to Adjinsons? Because he... Oh, no. Oh, my God. It's the other one. Oh, no. Come on, guys. Just get new names or something. It's too much to ask. Dara Atkinsons, not Jensen Atkinsons, Dara Atkinsons. There you go. Sam Kubi very helpfully putting on the ball name initial. There it is. So yeah, he's down to 20th place now, Dara Atkinsons, but he's still up loads of places. He's up 30 places from his start. Scott Vista up 34. Those two, the highest gainers, only two drivers who have gained over 20 positions. Gonzalo Cortez in 25th place right now, and he's just ahead of Bobby Flack at the moment. Bobby Flack down 23 places from his starting place of 3rd, and you can see a bit of damage as well on that car, but still some decent points, even for 26th in the amateur category. Could be useful stuff. Oh no, we've had Chadwick who just locking up the brakes there. I guess he must have been turning whilst applying the brakes, and you know, I've seen some of the responses from people about the GTE cars being dropped from IMSA, and that is the thing that people are saying that they're going to miss most. They like the GT3 cars, but the fact that of course the GT3 cars have ABS and they have well, I think these cars have traction control as well, but the fact that the GT3 cars have ABS does take away that element of talent, I think, or necessary talent from the drivers when driving these GT cars.
Yeah, it's a big change for IMSA, of course. The really GT in the real life racing, you've got, well, the GT3 is a little bit more cost effective as well, and also can be run more effectively by customer teams. I think that's what it comes down to. The manufacturers don't wish to fund the whole racing effort themselves. They look to support customers who buy the cars. And as we see Fellini going through on Jensen's Adriensons. Of course, we saw Fellini making a bit of a charge through late on in the last race as well, and doing the same here with 10 minutes to go. But yeah, a big change for IMSA from the end of this season. The GTLM category, which runs to the same rules as GTE, will be no more, and they will now be GT3 category Pro and GT3 category Pro Am. Le Mans will remain unchanged because the GTE rules are very much the Le Mans organisers, the ACO's baby, shall we say, but there's plenty of demand for those cars in amateur customer hands, but not too many takers on the manufacturer side right now, so they might have to have a rethink.
Yeah, has been a little bit of a struggling class after absolutely thriving a couple of years ago. Has kind of stalled a little bit on that, but certainly in the sim racing world, stronger than ever are the GTE cars, as we can see out here. And I think we've got pretty much all of them on iRacing, which is pretty cool. Apart from the Aston Martin, come on guys, even the most recent one, get the V10, and we'll all be happy. I know it's a bit outdated, but who cares? Adrienson's then down into 4th place, still leader of the amateur category. His teammate Kittelman is 2nd place in the amateur category. Indy Autosports doing an awesome job to start off this season, and look like they might be leading the way there. It's Kittelman a bit further back. He's got Paluch, Newman and Grossman all catching up to him at the moment, so he has got to be careful there. Still the leader's really close as well. Laubish about half a second behind Nessov, but he can't really get that much closer at the moment. It's a frustrating time at the moment for Nicholas Laubish, who has shown himself to be just as quick as his teammate Alexei Nessov, and yet might come away with finishing behind him both times, despite leading early on in the race in both races, which for him I'm sure will be absolutely frustrating. But still some decent points. 7 points the difference between first and second, 70 points to 63 points. You also get bonus points as well for 0 incidents. If you get 0 incidents, you get 1 bonus point. For every 10 incidents, you get 3 penalty points. And for every 16, 16, then like 24, then 32 incidents, you get a drive-through penalty. Not so much of a problem here at Phillip, but if you can get that bonus point, it can be quite useful. Laubish, quarter of a second behind now. This is really where the turbulent air kicks in, but that's a pretty good run for him. I want him to go for this move. I don't know if he will do, Peter. Maybe he's quite happy to stay in 2nd place. Maybe he doesn't want to challenge his teammate too much. But, he's bung it down the inside into Honda with a couple of laps to go. I'd love to see it.
I think he's got a score to settle. I think we're going to see it settle quite soon as well. As we look at Danny Lee looking to make a bit of a recovery, moving back through the field in the Colbek backed machine. Oh, side by side there with Adriansons, the AM class leader, gets it done. Good move there from Daniel Lee. Now we have a couple of questions in the YouTube chat. Thanks to everyone who's written in to us as well. David A asked, what type is this race? So this is the Apex Racing League GT Championship, sponsored by Colbek, and we are using GTE cars. So these are they start life loosely as a road car. They're like a Porsche 911 or a Chevrolet Corvette or a BMW M8 if you're a golfer, or a Ferrari 488 if you're a footballer. And then it's effectively the ultimate iteration of that car. So it's added more aerodynamics, bigger brakes, traction control, stripping out everything. It's a completely start with a basic base of the road car, and then build it into a racer. So we hope you're enjoying the racing, David. Now, Sam, the very eagle-eyed amongst the chat have caught you out. They've said, Mark Hutchison says, a V10 Aston, ? Are you sure, Sam? I didn't want to jump in. It was a V12.
I know. Yeah. Apologies.
Yeah. So that's quite all right. And but Max Will says, yes, listen to Sam, we want the Aston. So you do have some allies in the chat there, Sam. And also somebody called the Great Dane Racing, but no, they're not really saying anything of value. So we'll move on.
Yeah, standard rubbish from that account. I thought we banned him. But he keeps coming back.
So I think it's just a bot, actually.
Yeah. A bot's smarter. Usually. Slowing down into the pits.
You can see, now this is a great graphic we've got here on our SDK software. Over on the left-hand side, you've got all of the badges of all the manufacturers that we have, and look at that. Well, that tells a story. The Württemberg coat of arms, the Porsche badge, top 6 Porsche 911 RSRs, then the very distinctive wings of the Corvette brand. Oh, we've got one of the Indy Autosport cars there off on the grass. Is that one of the... Oh, it's Derek Holland. I'm not having a good day, is Derek right now?
Yeah, as I say, whilst the Porsches are up front, Holland a little bit far away from that one, still score points, I think. Adriansons, oh no, Jensen. Oh, Jensen's, that wasn't smart. Down into 6th position, and he's lost out to his teammate. He can see the money ebb away, and he's lost £3. That's a £3 mistake, but at the end of the season, it could be worth more.
That'll get you flat white.
Exactly. So Adrianson's unlucky as well to lose that main place. It's just behind Grossman, and Kittelman looks like he's going to win this race then potentially for Indy Autosports Red. And Kittelman's won his fair share of amateur races. I think has finished in the top 3 in the amateur category the past 2 seasons. I may have to do a bit more digging on that one. Like I said a couple of times earlier on, highest I-rated amateur driver out on circuit. And he's certainly living up to that billing, looking to get some big points tonight, and really showing how important it is for the amateur drivers to finish within the reverse grid spots for race 2, because then you get a good place on the grid for race 1. You stay out of trouble on the first lap, and you can get some big points under your belt in race 2. Nesov just relieving that pressure a bit, but quite a bit of traffic now for all these guys. Peter, we've got 2 more laps to go after this one, and needs to be careful here, does Nesov, but at the same time he's got, not waste any time. He certainly didn't face any trouble passing drivers earlier on when it was full position.
No, definitely not. But maybe Nicholas Laubish has had to really punish the tyre to catch back up with his teammate. Of course, they did get separated a little bit, and Laubish has done a great job to get back to his teammate. But maybe just looks like he's just starting to wilt ever so slightly. It will be 2 laps to go when we come over the line. Now we've got another. We've got another question here from Manuel Santiago. Hello, Manuel. He's saying, are there pros, as in like real-life racers, the man leading the race, Alexei Nezov, is a real-life racing driver. We do see it from quite regularly, don't we, Sam? Normally, it is kind of the norm now to have at least 2 or 3 kind of real-world racing drivers in a field of this standard. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's more unusual not to have a real-world driver in there.
Yeah, and of course the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship that we broadcast on Thursdays, I think that's got, is it 5 that we've had this season? Or maybe 4. But obviously we've had like Ash Sutton race many times in the past, and yeah, got some proper top drivers in that series, as Newman is ahead of Paluch. I think that was just a move that Newman made, but that is on his teammate, so nice work there. The teammates, Linus, don't take a screenshot, guys, in 6th, 7th and 8th. I don't think they'll quite catch up to Kissman. Kissman, with some flying pace, should be able to hang on to 5th position. But yeah, Nesov has driven in the SMP F4 Championship, and in that championship, and I looked through his stats a little while back, he got an insane amount of podiums under his belt. I'm trying to find it right now. Well, yeah, he did pretty well. He got 13 races and he got 9 podiums, 1 win, 9 podiums, and finished 3rd in the championship. That was 2019. Also driven in the International GT Open, the British F4 iRacing Trophy, actually, which I think is broadcast on iRacing's own channel, and also the 2020 Formula Drivers Challenge. And so, based on a lot, basically, as Nesov, and he's done very well in his various categories. So, yes. That was a more long-winded way of saying, yes, there are some pro drivers. I think there might be a couple of other real-life drivers as well out on circuit. Here comes Nesov, though, down the inside. Lucky Brown's had a problem. He's dropping down, but Nesov gets past. Ooh, that was nearly a contest as well for Laubish, but Nesov's got past that back marker, and the road should be clear here on in for him to take that race win.
Yeah, it looks like he's maybe just got enough of a margin here. Danny Lee has been a good recovery after a mistake earlier on. Just a last mention from the chat. Freedom Machine says the Porsche needs an extra 5 pounds of weight ballast added on. Probably a fair point, given they're P1 to 6 at this point. But, of course, that's something we don't set. That's done automatically by iRacing, and maybe due an update for the GTE cars. Always kind of swings back and forth in favour, but Alexei Nezov, Sam, looks like he's done enough here.
He sure has. He managed to overtake his teammate Laubish in race 1, and he's been able to do the same thing in race 2. It is Alexei Nesov in his Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek debut. Gets a double and really sets his stall out for the favourite for the championship. Here comes Fulini. That's a back marker. It's all right, guys. It wasn't exciting. Fulini in 3rd place. Lee, a frustrating 4th, but that's only a few points lost. So that's not too bad for Daniel Lee. Kittelman wins out of the amateur category. That's by far Kittelman's best result in this championship ever. Maybe not necessarily in terms of position, but in terms of the competition that he's been able to beat there, that is really impressive. Atkinson's and Bingham get a little bit of the prize money in 2nd and 3rd in the amateur category. Rista will be just behind Steve Burke, who I might vote for Steve Burke as my driver of the day. I think he drove very well after his not great qualifying. Missed out on first good pole by 1 place, but still got a good amount of points for race 2. Lucky Brown, after a late incident, dropped down, and he's going to be beaten by Matthias Beer. In motorcycles, we usually have a run to line not quite long enough when it comes to GT cars. But yeah, that was a Beer beating Brown across the line. We've also got Elfers and Flack quite close to one another. Elfers gets that 27th place, and well, in fact 29th and down were 1 lap down, so are already across the line. And yeah, so that's pretty much the race complete then. And Peter, what a way to start the season then. I mean, we did have our fair share of incidents out there, particularly on the opening lap of the race. But the racing out in front was high quality, and I think the racing for most of the order as well was high quality. I'm looking forward to the next 4 months of this.
Indeed, yeah, there was a lot of changes for position all around the all around the field. And I think we will see, as as we progress through, we will of course transcend to iRacing seasons. Of course, every 12 weeks, iRacing gets a big mid quarterly update, if you like, and that usually shakes up the established order quite a lot. So at the moment, the Porsches seem to have a little bit of an edge, but that could turn on its head completely as we progress through the season with updates and what have you. The balance of performance gets changed as well, so it could be anybody, and I think that's going to be why getting the points in the bag early is very important, because you never know what is around the corner. My driver of the day, Sven Newman, top of the Corvettes, Core Sim Racing. I tell you what, those Core Sim Racing Corvettes look fantastic. They look like the old Budweiser GTP cars from the late 80s.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to put your driver of the day. Fair enough. Yeah, Neiman with some big points. He'll be about 5th in the championship, I think, after this one. But it is Urano Esports 1-2. It wasn't quite the case in race 1, but have made it in race 2. Matteo Fulini, really good 3rd place for him. Danny Lee finishes in 4th. Then it was Kevin Kisselman, top of the amateurs, in 5th. Sven Newman was in 6th. Then it was Make Paluch, Ronald Grossmans, Jensen Adjensons, and Tom Bingham rounding out the top 10. Then it is Anton Galmetzer, Steve Burke, Scott Rister gained 35 places. I don't know what happened to Rister in qualifying. I think he qualified quite low in race 1, but he had really good pace. Certainly one of the favourites for the amateur category, I think, Rister. Then it was Dean Powell, Brent Cook, Dara Adjensons, Scott Kimbrough, Justin Garek, Matty Chambers, Matthias Beer, Lockie Brown, Dominic Engel, Drew Becker, James Crouch, frustrating day for Crouch actually, a couple of unlucky starts for him. Gonzalo Cortez in 25th, then it was Tom Brown, Fabian Elfers, Bobby Flack, Dave Chadwick, Brian Kroon, Sonny Brown, David Gowrie, Pete Meyerhut, Chris Prescott in 34th, remarkably finishing where he started. Michael Tolman was in 35th, then it was Nasser Busharad, Daniel Sykes, Derek Holland, Aaron Herbert, Jan Kenneth, EJ Nixon, Maximilian Fritz, Chris Van Den Esse, Bradley Hulse, Dori Ricucci, Eduardo Piazza, Edon Polovina, Shane Keiko, Denny Piazza, and Max Riedmüller. Both in race 1 and race 2. Quite a few kind of good solid pros getting involved in incidents. Lots of retirees actually. Come on guys, you got off faster there, you can take back, you can finish within 2 laps. You should be desperate for points. We are going to get some interviews though with some of our drivers. I'm waiting for quite a few to be waiting. There's a few waiting. So we've got to have a chat first off with our race winner tonight. And it is Alexei Neskov. Congratulations, Alexei. Looks like it was very evenly matched between yourself and Nicholas, but you just had the edge on him in the end.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very good evening for us. So P1, P2 for the team. That's what we wanted today. We were pretty much the same with the pace. I guess Nicholas was managing the tires a bit better, so that's why he was faster a little bit in the end. But yeah, fortunately I hold it, and yeah, P1 is the way I wanted to start this championship.
Absolutely. How did you find out about the championship actually? How did you find out about signing up?
Actually, Nicholas called me up. You better ask him how he want to find out about this championship. So he just asked me, "Do you want to go?" And I said yes.
And how much experience have you got with Phillip Island in these cars? Have you ever done this car combination before?
To be honest, no. I first time tried it today. Yeah, fortunately I had good setups from other tracks, which were quite suitable for this one. But still, yeah, we had to adapt. Previously, I was driving only formulas on this track, so it was a new experience for me.
And we know that you do quite a bit of real-life racing as well. Do you think you're going to be able to do all 12 rounds, or do you think that real-life racing might get in the way when we get later on in the season?
Actually, I'm planning to do all the season. I don't have certain plans for this season yet. I hope I will quite soon, but nothing yet. And actually, I'm planning to do the World Championship.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that. I'm sure the other drivers aren't necessarily, because you're absolutely dominant tonight. Alexei, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just what I do. Congrats to Niklas. Probably my pass was not so clean, but yeah, hope we won't avoid these contacts further up. But yeah, it is what it is. So thank you guys for organizing such a nice championship, and looking forward for the next race.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Alexei, and best of luck for next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Alexei Nesov there, your race winner in both race 1 and race 2 tonight. Peter, who do you fancy having a chat with?
I think we've got to get Daniel Lee in for a chat, because he was mighty impressive in the Colbek Porsche today. Let's get him in for a chat. Daniel Lee, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. I have to say, you get my vote for the snazziest looking car out there today.
Cheers very much. Took a while, but it feels like years since I've actually made it. The prep starts early for ARL, but that was a really tough one. That felt like an exam. Pace is so strong at the front. This felt like a good track car combo to me. So fourth and a fourth is good for me. I'll take that.
I can imagine, indeed. And of course, you spent the majority of last season in the BMW M8, from my memory. How's the switch over to the Porsche been?
Well, there's definitely it feels like you're kind of driving the BMW but backwards, by the way of it being just really, it just swings from left to right, and if you get it set up well, it's great. It suits me really well. It boots it out of slow speed corners and is really strong on the brakes. And there was plenty of times in this race whereby braking into that hairpin gained me a position which I simply wouldn't have had the confidence to do in the BMW. So whoever's in a Porsche here has the benefit of really strong brakes, good general cornering speed at the expense of maybe a little bit down on power, and just not quite as good in a straight line as the other cars, particularly the Corvettes, which seem to be really good even when you're in the tow. So that's the difference between the BMW and the Porsche this time around. Suits me a lot better though.
That's Detroit muscle for you, Daniel. That's what it is. It's but I tell you what, best sounding car, hands down, has got to be that Porsche. It just screams.
It certainly does. In season 1, I started out in the Porsche, and by round 3, I was sick of the noise. So I switched to the Ferrari for the rest of it. That was like nearly a year ago now. But since then, I've found the little master slider switch to turn it down a bit. So, you know, with that quality of life adjustment, the Porsche is now car of choice. It's really poised. Really, really good. Just got to watch that back end on that uphill left-hand corner, particularly here where I had one incident but kept it out of the tyres.
Looky Heights is one of those corners, a bit like Craner Curves at Donington. If you haven't had a crash there, you're about to. It's so tricky. I mean, Daniel, we've got such a busy calendar, 12 rounds across a huge variety of circuits. I mean, is there any that you've circled on the calendar to think that's one where I can go for a challenge?
Definitely Sebring. Sebring is a one where I think that pace will be strong. It's always one of my strongest tracks. It was my strongest track in season 1 when I just had a G29 on a desk, you know, and was punching way above my weight. Sebring is the one I'm looking for. And if I don't screw up qualifying, then it should be a good one. This race kind of scuppered qualifying slightly by messing up my outlap. Otherwise, we could have been at the very, very front of the grid, even with the pace that was here now. But, you know, just got to put it down. I didn't put it down as well as Alexei and Nicholas. So fair play to them. Such strong pace.
Well, it's a long season, and with a variety of circuits, I'm sure you'll get your opportunity. Daniel, before we let you go, who would you like to say hello to here on Apex Racing TV?
A shout out to family, wife for being such a good support. Colbek Systems, go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing to vote for your driver of the day and have a look at what that's all about. Shout out to Dean Powell, had a rough one. I think he's just got to pick himself up for round 2. And shout out to Matty Chambers, who will probably get squeezed out of the interviews once again.
Well, thank you so much for coming in to chat to us, Daniel, and looking forward to speaking again very soon.
Cheers, me too. Thank you very much. See you later.
Daniel Lee in fine form there, Sam.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. next up, we will have a chat with... oops. I've just jacked up the wrong driver. Okay, it's Matty Chambers. Well, I guess we'll have to stick with this one then. Oh, okay. Matty, how's it going? Some decent results tonight.
Yeah, cheers. Long time listener, first time caller. Not for want of trying. Absolute disaster. I thought we had like good pace. Got 6th qualifying, mental open qualifying session, but then messed up first lap, which was a theme today. Managed to sort of recover because I knew reverse grid was going to be 16th, so I was like, as long as I'm somewhere in that, I'll take the old Bob Humphrey strategy, try and get a reverse grid pole. Started 4th in the second, and then it just went from bad to worse, really. Spun with my right rear onto the dirt after turn 2, and then absolute carnage in the hairpin. And then, I don't know if the stream saw, but me and James came together just to add to the comic value of it all. And yeah, from 47th, I think I was, tried to get myself up. I think I finished 19th in the end. But could have gone better.
I mean, at least the pace was good. I mean, what was the difference between you and James out there? Because James didn't qualify very well, and yet you were way ahead of him. I mean, last season, you guys were, James probably had the edge in qualifying. So is that something you've improved on in the off-season, you think?
No, in all practice and stuff, we was quite similar pace, but the open qualifying, I think, chucks a spanner in the works a little bit. So with it being only 10 minutes, it's sort of it's a bit of luck if you can get that clean lap in, because I think over 4 laps you probably only get 1, maybe 2 like completely clean laps, and I just don't think he got the rub of the green. And then he had a disaster in the 2 races. I think we came out of that race and was just like, well, we just won't mention that one again.
We've got Interlagos next time out. We visited there for the last race of last season. I can't remember how well you did that last time out, so it indicates to me that it was quite an uninspiring round. Do you recall what happened at Interlagos last time?
I don't think I was able to make it. I think I was away with work. Yeah, so first time for me.
Well, best of luck for it, Matty. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
All the eBay guys. I know like a lot of them aren't taking part this season, but they're doing Prototype League and Porsche League and stuff like that. And you for finally bloody picking me, Sam.
Well, it's been a mistake. It won't happen again. Learn from accident, say. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you later. Cheers for having me.
Matty Chambers there. I think that's his name. Finishing some decent results, and like Matty was quite negative there, and didn't do that bad. He got some points at least. So yeah, won't hear him again. Pizza, I think we've got one more interview to go.
Yeah, we have Nicholas Laubish. Let's get him in for a chat. Nicholas Laubish, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. A very strong day out here at Phillip Island. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the first one was a race to forget. I had about 3 liters less fuel than I expected, so I had to save around 3 liters through the whole race. So therefore I had no chance to battle Alexi for the win. Unluckily, right at the finish line, like 2 meters before, Mattia was able to overtake me, so I only got P3 out of that. Pretty unlucky, but still a very good result for the first race. And the second race also was extremely fun. There was a bit of carnage in front of us with a big spin with in the hairpin. But still it was a lot of fun going through the field with Alexi and afterwards also battling him. Unluckily, I was really bad on tires. I had a lot of problems with traction control at the end, at the second last corner. So I had no chance to overtake him and I made way too many mistakes. But it will probably be a very nice season with Alexi and me battling probably the whole way through.
I think it's going to be, and we're really looking forward to it. You guys going toe to toe. Now you're both running the Porsche 911 RSR. Of course, there's quite a choice of cars in the GTE class. What was your guys' thought process in going for the Porsche over the other machines?
Yeah, we already tested the BMW in the BMW 120, but it didn't suit us at all. It was weird to drive, oversteery, and the way it was behaving just didn't suit us. And first of all, we thought for the 24 hours of Daytona that we're gonna drive Porsche GTE. So I made a setup for Daytona there, and I just felt very comfortable in this car. So it was the first choice for this season here, and all the other cars we didn't want to drive, like the Corvette. We never did that in any race. The Ferrari is a bit too slow. And then, yeah, there's not really anything else to drive. But the car is just amazing to drive. It's also very tricky when you brake, because it doesn't have any anti-braking system, anti-lockup system. It's very hard, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, you guys are certainly all that research has been worth it. Nicholas, before we let you go to go and enjoy your double podium today, who would you like to say hello to here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I want to say hello to my team chef, Sebastian Schwalenbach, and to all the guys who watch this race. And of course, also thank you guys for the coverage of this race. It was fun to drive this race, and I will definitely watch the race afterwards. Hopefully there are also some great battles in the midfield. It looked like it was really close at one point, and just thanks to you guys.
Well, we hope you enjoy watching it, Nicholas, and looking forward to speaking again throughout the season. So that was Nicholas Laubish, and Sam, I think we maybe got time for one last driver.
Yes, we've got Kevin Kisselman in for a chat with us, who had a stellar meeting, 16th in race 1 and 5th place in race 2. I'd first like to say congratulations, Kevin, because obviously you've been around in the series since GT Season 1, I believe, and that must be your best result in the series. I think I would certainly evaluate it as that.
Thank you, first of all. Feels great to be back again and couldn't wait for Season 4. Yeah, first of all, kind of disappointed about... disappointed is the wrong term to say. I'm still happy with my finish from race 1, but if I didn't jinx myself in the first race, could have been a 1-2 finish for Jensen and me in the amateur class. But I think in the end, I just finished in the right position for race 2, which got me the lead, and yeah, kind of managed to stay up front. So yeah.
Was it nerve-wracking being out in front, or was it not too bad for you? Did you feel quite comfortable?
Hell yeah, Sam. It wasn't like Suzuka back then was my first time up front, but you know what happened back then. Really don't want to talk about that one. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still shaking from the start of race 2, and was kind of surprised by myself that I could keep myself up there for so long. So yeah, I'm like I said, I'm still nervous, I'm still shaking, so it was a new experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, you finished 23 seconds off Alexei, who was, pushing hard throughout because he was being pushed by his teammate, and he's, 7.5 thousand I-rated, very good real-life driver. Where's that upturn in pace come from? Is that something that you think is specific to you, or is that something that all you Indy Autosports drivers have been able to do?
Well, in the off season, we all practiced a lot, and so yeah, we focused mainly on GT cars and the P2. So maybe that's where the sudden pace comes from. I would say I also learned a lot during the off season, also from the teams championship you guys did. Because of all the faster guys and that kind of, it's like you always learn when you drive with faster people. So maybe I took something from them and applied it to myself.
Well, it's awesome to see you up there, Kevin. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course. First of all, our sponsors, SimRacer Coin and MaxVast, who made the entry possible. And then, of course, all my teammates are also running in here in this league and helped us with the setups. Then, of course, want to shout out my dad again, because he's always watching on the Sundays, or as much as he can. And yeah, also my best friend who tuned in today. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that they watched the race and that I was able to pull off such a good finish.
Absolutely. Well, big thanks for having a chat with us, Kevin. And yeah, keep up the good work next time out.
Thank you, Sam.
Kevin Kitzelman there, 16th in race 1 and 5th in race 2 for Indy Autosports Red. That will be all our interviews complete and almost the end of our coverage. But quick word, Peter, on the next round of the championship. It's Interlagos, a bit of a wider circuit than the Phillip Island circuit that we visited today. But could be chaotic off the start as well. That CNRS can often catch up many drivers.
It really can, yes. And interesting to see if the Porsches have the same advantage. I think they probably will do, because, of course, as as Danny Lee said, the off-corner grip and the off-corner drive are very much a Porsche 911 trait. That brilliant traction out of the corners. Of course, there's a lot of slow corners at Interlagos, and getting the boogie out of them is really important. So looks like it could be a long day for those not in a Weissach built machine, but we've been surprised before. But it's Orano Esports have stuck their flag in the ground as the early championship favourites, so we'll see.
Yeah, they certainly are looking absolutely terrific. That team will see if they can keep up that form next time out, or if anyone can manage to challenge them for those race wins. Big thanks to everyone who makes this Apex Racing TV broadcast possible. That's SDK Gaming, Virtual Racing School, and Apex Racing Academy. Certainly check out all of them. And massive thanks to Colbek for sponsoring this Season 4 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Like I said before, they've provided some prize money for the race winners and also the championship winners as well, in both the professional and the amateur categories. And if you're looking to get some savings on Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, amongst many other softwares, certainly do check out colbek.co.uk. And if you go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can vote for your driver of the day as well. So certainly go over there and cast your ballots on that one. There's plenty more action coming up on Apex Racing TV in the next few days. Of course, we've got the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship, and the first round ever of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. That'll be launching on Friday, so I certainly recommend subscribing to Apex Racing TV. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it. But for now, for myself and from Peter Mackay and from Sam Kume, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you for round 2 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek at Interlagos next week. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.